Monday Aftermath on Locked On Browns. We'll take you through everything that got the Browns a key victory yesterday. Your latest Locked On Browns starts now.
You are Locked On Browns, your daily Cleveland Browns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends, your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound LGB on the LOB, the Locked On Browns podcast, brought to the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, your host, Jeff Lloyd, and I appreciate every single one of you that make Locked On Browns your first listen every single day. If you ain't part of the everyday crowd yet, well, get on the bus, Gus, and subscribe to Locked On Browns YouTube channel, and of course, Locked On Browns is always available, always free, wherever you get your podcasts. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Cleveland Browns, 9-5, an incredible come from behind victory yesterday against Chicago Bears, going into the fourth quarter, trailing 17-7. Joe Flacco puts together 3 scoring drives, field goal, touchdown, field goal. Browns walk it off on a crazy Hail Mary that made it feel like the ball was in the air for about 17 days until Darnell Mooney juggles it, kicks it. D'Anthony Bell gets his first career interception with the Cleveland Browns, and it was over. 9-5, Cleveland Browns, 7-1 at Cleveland Brown Stadium. Joe Flacco. Now, this is what the move of Joe was so incredibly well done for the Browns. You bring in this veteran, obviously, and up until going into the fourth quarter, Joe in the second quarter threw an interception, threw a pick 6 in the third quarter. After a turnover, shot played to the end zone, David Njoku. Joe a little late with it. Safety picks it. 3 interceptions. You go to the fourth quarter. Joe Flacco had kind of a rocky game. No assistance to the running game. And Joe Flacco lights up the fourth quarter. 11 of 13, 212 yards. And, of course, that touchdown to Amari Cooper. I guess we can start with the touchdown pass to Amari Cooper. I mean, that is the throw to throw it and complete it. It's stones, man, because it is completely anticipatory throw. You know where you think Cooper should end up. And this is what makes Joe so special. There's the natural arm talent. And this maybe wouldn't be here if Joe had been playing this entire season. Everybody's banged up as the season goes on. Certainly Joe Flacco would have been no different. You end up, a little, less, you don't have as much strength. You're just not firing the ball as you do when you're fresh. And Joe took a beating yesterday. We all agree on that, but still fresh down the stretch. And just an incredible, incredible effort by Joe Flacco on that throw to Amari Cooper. Just an incredible, incredible play. Obviously, you get a little luck, a little, bumper cars. Nobody gets a hand on Amari Cooper. Next thing you know, sidelines, touchdown. Just incredible. Obviously, a couple plays to David Njoku. But another one I do want to highlight, because now this is the second week in a row. We know now what Joe's main targets are. It's most likely the back, whatever running back's on the field, if there is a running back on the field. But the core of it is David Njoku. The core of it is Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, and Cedric Tillman. Last week, key situation, they find a way to get the ball to David Bell. 41 yards on a catch and run. Big touchdown for your Cleveland Browns. Yesterday, and I believe it was only 7 snaps that Marquisse Goodwin took yesterday for the Browns. But you realize that Marquisse Goodwin's got something that nobody else does. He's just got that elite speed. Elijah Moore has it, but obviously there's a lot of focus on Elijah Moore when he's out on the field. So, you come with a really nice play call. You have David fan out, pick up the edge, but you pull Dunn on the backside. Michael Dunn cleans that out. It gives you an option of Njoku in the flat. The Browns got exactly what they wanted on that throw. The player responsible for David Njoku stepped up, which means that was one more guy out of the pass coverage realm. And Joe Flacco fires the ball in the air, probably traveled close to 60 yards from where Joe threw it, about his own 20. It landed about the 27-yard line of the Chicago Bears. Keep in mind, you got to figure in the diagonal direction of said pass as well. And you get Marquisse Goodwin wide open for a big, big catch. And you're just taking advantage of things that people haven't seen. And, there's a lot of credit here, because with Joe Flacco and the opportunities you get with Joe is shot plays. And this is what makes Joe what he is. And this is what's so special about having Joe here at this time right now. Browns haven't really had a lot of them. They haven't had a lot of them during the entire Kevin Stefanski regime, to be honest with you. With first year with Baker, certainly not in 21, 22, revolving door. Jacoby could do this. And, it just didn't always, culminate. You're really, really starting to see it now. And the Browns are taking advantage of this 6'6", 240-pound veteran who's got a rifle of an arm. And you get Goodwin, obviously, on a big play when they absolutely had to have it and absolutely needed it. That led to the first field goal, which led to the Cooper touchdown drive, which led to the final drive. Obviously, the David Njoku catch and run. You're just starting to see it really all come together. And, the Browns, obviously, as banged up as they are. I mean, you talk about yesterday, 3 offensive linemen took all the snaps, and it was Gerard Christian, it was James Hudson, and it was Wyatt Teller. Nick Harris missed 1 snap, but, did play all of them. You had Joel Bitonio for a grand total of 11 snaps yesterday. The report from Coach Stefanski today on Joel Bitonio. Anybody who was dinged up yesterday, got hurt yesterday, Coach is describing as day-to-day. That might be one of the most refreshing things we've heard from Coach Stefanski on a Monday. Definitely in 2023. No doubts about that. As it seemed, the Browns came out, hopefully relatively exactly healthy as they were to going into the game. Like I said, Bell 5 reps, Marquisse Goodwin only 5. Bell with 5, Marquisse Goodwin was 7. Trying to get these guys implemented. Trying to understand that, there might be a role for these guys, even though you have your core guys, but again, Cedric Tillman, 52 yards, 100-yard day for David Njoku. David Njoku, 69 receptions, over 700 yards, 5 touchdowns. And not to mention, and nobody seems to talk about it, the inline player that David Njoku is, the assistance he is in the run game, and even more so important now with all the injuries at the tackle position. And the tackles, look, it was a rough day for most of it yesterday. Schemed it up, switched up a little bit, and got maximum, pass pressure in when it mattered, and which led to Joe going for 11 for 13 for 212 in the fourth quarter and a touchdown, of course, shaking off a rough start. It's not something you could expect from a rookie in DTR. If it was a guy like PJ Walker, you most likely would have replaced him because, on a day like that, that fourth quarter wasn't coming. But with Joe, there is this ability. There's nothing he hasn't seen. He has not been, there's no tougher spot that he's ever been in. And right now, things are really, really clicking for the Cleveland Browns on the offensive side of the ball. Absence of running game, and I'll keep bringing it up until we see one, which stinks. But, you put 2 over 100 yesterday. You get 50 from Tillman. You get 50 from Goodwin. Really, really strong effort from Coach Stefanski and Joe Flacco yesterday. We got some thoughts here on the defensive side of the ball. We're going to get to that as we keep rolling through here. Your latest Locked On Browns, 9-5 Cleveland Browns celebrating. And I hope you all enjoyed Victory Monday, because I certainly did too. The week before Christmas, really easy to get in that Christmas spirit when your Cleveland Browns are winning. Don't go anywhere. We're going to continue here. If you're like me and you have teenagers, well, Nicki Minaj is touring, so they're interested. And the best place you can check it out and get tickets for anybody, for any show, is Game Time. You shouldn't have to worry about where you're buying tickets for your next big event. Game Time is a fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. They got killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. I love the fact it is so easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in my area. I get views from the seats in the venue. I get a lowest price guarantee. I get event cancellation protection. Heck, they even offer job loss protection. You can see the view from your seat before you buy, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. All in prices show your total up front. No hidden fees as you get towards the end of your transaction. Buy tickets in 2 seconds. Tap, tap. You're out, and you are in to the show you want to go to. Game Time has the deals on tickets right up to the start of the event and even an hour after it starts. It's the place to find last minute seats. Find exclusive flash deals and sponsored deals on tickets for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. And the Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section or row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Jeff Lloyd, your latest Locked On Browns, and I appreciate every one of you who make Locked On Browns your first listen every single day. The everyday crowd keeps growing and growing, and you do not want to miss out, and you don't need no VIP treatment. All you got to do is subscribe to Locked On Browns YouTube channel, and you are in the building. Of course, the show is always available. It's always free wherever you get your podcasts. Now, we go to the defensive side of the ball yesterday, and obviously, this is where I don't think the Browns are as in a difficult situation as some may be. They see the names missing from defense, and obviously it causes alarms. I think the offensive line right now is the tougher road to navigate week in, week out. Granted, they've been doing the job. I think everybody just viewed the amount of attrition on the defensive side of the ball and just figured, oh my, this is a really, really difficult spot to be in. And to be fair, and I'm going to be fair, it's not like any of us, thought that Ronnie Hickman was going to throw up a PFF grade yesterday of 90. I thought Ronnie Hickman was a fine UDFA selection for the Cleveland Browns. When you get a guy who comes from Ohio State, comes from a Power 5 conference, obviously the guy can play. Sometimes the draft is a numbers game. Ronnie Hickman certainly didn't work out for him, but it certainly worked out for him in the long run, and it certainly worked out for the Cleveland Browns. You get a 90 grade PFF for Ronnie Hickman yesterday in his first NFL start. Are you stinking kidding me? That is incredible. D'Anthony Bell, 78, almost 79 PFF grade. His first career interception yesterday. Tackle for loss, physical. These are the things D'Anthony Bell can bring. And you saw a lot of D'Anthony Bell around the box. Jim Schwartz is no idiot. D'Anthony Bell is a really good special teams player. He's a really good physical player, likes getting into it. So for a defense coordinator, you try to find a role when you got this guy in the field that you think best suits his abilities. And obviously Jim Schwartz certainly did that for D'Anthony Bell. The defensive play of the game yesterday, Cameron Mitchell. And if you remember, it was the 4th and 1. Justin Fields was rolling out. Cameron Mitchell sells out, gets just enough of his, top of where the top of the foot meets the ankle and gets a piece. Why Justin Fields didn't think to extend that ball. Was he nervous? Maybe if he did, he would lose control of it and fumble it. But that, and, Fields takes the steps and you can see falling. Look, we were all a kid, right? Y'all remember falling down, running, and you knew Fields was feeling that and just came up short. That was the defensive play of the day yesterday from Cameron Mitchell. Obviously, things were a little different yesterday with the amount of bodies off the field for the Cleveland Browns. 2 players saw every snap. That was Sione Takitaki and MJ Emerson. Anthony Walker not playing wasn't ideal, but, there's not much, in my opinion, between Anthony Walker and Sione Takitaki. Taki is just a beast. Guy can truly, truly play the position and is just growing in his time here, especially when we consider anybody who's out there in the linebacking core playing with JOK is playing second fiddle. JOK, in my opinion, is certainly the most improved Cleveland Brown this year, and the Browns will never get the national respect that they seem to deserve. But if you want to talk about most improved player in the entire NFL this year, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is definitely one of those guys. He is seeing things before they happen. He's quick. He's beating. It's not getting off blocks. He's beating blocks because the intelligence combined with the athleticism, the reading ability, he is one step ahead of the offense, and it's really, really shown well. Obviously, we're going to talk, about who stepped up, who played more, with, guys who were out yesterday. Obviously, Ogbo, obviously Maurice Hurst, Alex Wright, 52 snaps yesterday. Alex Wright out-snapped Zadarius Smith yesterday. Who is going to be that guy to go in and rush from a 3 technique yesterday? Well, it was Alex Wright. Alex Wright had a sack, had a forced fumble. But this is no surprise. When Alex Wright 2 years ago, when you watched the tape from UAB, here he was a guy playing defense for UAB on the defensive line who was the best player, whether it was inside or outside. UAB didn't develop him as an edge player. They just put him where they needed him. And if they felt they needed him inside, they played him inside. If they felt they needed him outside, they played him outside. So it's not like Alex Wright really has a preference as to where he plays or, has this tell where he is more suited to succeed from. He's a big guy. He's got long arms. We all think there's really good athletic ability. We never got any testing, but seeing it start to translate. I know I'm higher on Alex Wright than most. And I think the thing that the Cleveland Browns truly love about Alex Wright, and we've talked about this for years with Myles Garrett, is the Browns like a smart, functional player with Myles. And Myles has gotten more smart and more functional and more assignment driven as his career has gone on. And he's just so good in every phase. Part of the plan why the Browns always wanted that was in case Myles wanted to freelance. But now Myles is so good in every facet of it. You have a star edge player who is also a detail-oriented player. And you can find a detail-oriented player to play with him. You get the success that they're having on the defensive line. It's just been really, really fun to see how this grows and how it has grown. Siaki Ika, 18 snaps yesterday. Not much of a factor, but look, getting your feet wet, first NFL action. Isaiah McGuire, assisted tackle, only 9 snaps yesterday. So that means mostly it was Adarius Smith. It was mostly Alex Wright. And it was mostly, of course, obviously number 95, Myles Garrett, who I believe had 11 pressures yesterday. It's a shame it's only 13 sacks. Still playing at a defensive player of the year type pace. Whatever. Production, it's fine. It's not there. Whatever. If that's what you're sleeping on, if that's what you're putting your head on the pillow at night. But Myles Garrett is just absolute beast. The shoulder is healing, and he's just having his way right now. The cornerback group, how do you just these guys, and I got to be honest, when they were celebrating down 10, it was kind of scaring me because it was man, I think you're pissing the Bears off even more, and this might not be the best thing in the world, but you're encouraged to do it by your defensive coordinator, and these guys are just so feeling the flow. New Denzel Ward, and of course Martin Emerson Jr. These guys are just an incredible trio at the cornerback position. And, the Browns right now have an embarrassment of riches at the position of the cornerback position. Cameron Mitchell's the only other cornerback who saw snaps yesterday. So the Browns, at least cornerback wise, are back to where they always felt the rotation was going to be when the season started. So it's been crazy impressive for them to this point. Just an incredible unit when they all work together. And obviously we've seen weeks where it was just New and Martin Emerson, and they certainly got the job done. But now you can start getting Denzel back up to speed. And, for Denzel Ward yesterday, it was 43 snaps out of a total possibility of 71. The Browns slowly worked him in. There was the one tackle late in the game that Denzel did not make. And obviously not a good thing at the time, but certainly turned to not be beneficial. But this defense and Jim Schwartz just trying to find a way to plug in guys. And the credit obviously goes to Andrew Berry and the players he's brought in here as depth pieces, but certainly a lot of credit to Jim Schwartz taking players and saying, look, I know what you're good at. I'm not going to ask you to do what I don't know if you're good at, or I know you're not good at. And so obviously huge effort there from Jim Schwartz being smart about the personnel he is using. Browns just keep rolling along. 9-5, and we're going to continue on that here. Your latest Locked On Browns rolls on. Don't you dare walk away. When you are hiring for your small business, you want to have as many top-tier candidates as possible to interview. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. Look, small businesses, you can't afford to miss. You don't have a lot of time and you need people quickly. You've got to make sure that you're hitting home runs on your hires. LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact, that 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn knows the small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire. Thankfully, with LinkedIn, the process is intuitive, it's quick, and it's easy. They even just launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process even easier and quicker. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL. That's linkedin.com/LockedOnNFL to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Jeff Lloyd closing it out here. Monday Aftermath, your latest Locked On Browns. Cleveland Browns now sitting at 9-5. Still the number one wild card seed in the NFL, AFC rather. Actually, the NFL as well. Better record than the AFC South, Jacksonville Jaguars. Only Miami and Baltimore have more wins than them in the AFC. You talk about just a yeoman's effort from this team. And look, you give credit to coaches, obviously, because they are doing an incredible job. But you give a ton of credit to these players. Your star quarterback goes down the first time. Might be easier for guys to say, ugh, or press and try to do too much. And then that backfires. You win key games against San Francisco 49ers at home with PJ Walker. PJ Walker. You come back week after. Hey, Deshaun's back. PJ Walker's got to go in and win the game for him with a game-ending drive. Then you go to DTR once you get the finalization and understanding that Deshaun Watson is now out for the year. You get a big win against the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. Then DTR gets banged up after he brought in Joe Flacco in Denver. And you go to the 38-year-old veteran. And Joe Flacco obviously feeling himself fresh, rested, basically not I don't want to say away, but not playing the game for well over a calendar year. And you get this savvy veteran with this strong arm and just finding his way. And each week the Browns are able to add a little bit more. And you saw that yesterday. We're starting to see some plays we haven't seen with Joe Flacco behind center yet. And you just get a guy who's throwing for almost 1,000 yards in 3 starts. Joe Flacco has just as many touchdown passes this year in 3 games as Kenny Pickett. I'm sorry, he has more than Kenny Pickett, who started 12 games for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You got to get that Yinzer rib in there, right? But it's just amazing what this team has done. It's just amazing the stick to plan from general manager to coach to players. These guys are so focused, and it never feels like the moment's too big. And I think we all felt the same way going to that fourth quarter yesterday. The way the offense was performing up until that fourth quarter, are we going to be able to even get 10 to tie this, let alone 13 to win it? And then Joe gets hot, and you start going with some chunk plays, and you get some yards after catch. And the team they just don't have, there is no rolling over. There is a never say die attitude with this team that makes it, in my opinion, probably the best team to talk about in the NFL this year. Yes, some teams may be showing more overall talent, but for all that the Browns have been through, being on quarterback number 4, losing the best running back in the NFL, a revolving door on the offensive line, a defense that featured 3 safeties that were great, and you're going into games like yesterday where you had none of the 3. Defensive linemen in, out, looks like a lot of them most likely possibly out. But this team just won't go away. This team won't quit. They won't roll over. They are 53-1, and it's so refreshing to watch. And the inspiration that these guys all get from each other, and whether it's a guy like a DeAnthony Bell making a play when it should be a Grant Delpit, or Ronnie Hickman playing his greatest NFL game ever when it should be a Juan Thornhill, or Alex Wright making a couple plays that maybe more Maurice Hurst or Ogbenaya Okoronkwo should be making. Every one of these guys has got talent, and every one of these guys has been sitting there saying, get me my opportunity to play on the field with this team. I can compete. I can make plays. And you know how deep your roster is when you got to start putting guys in key positions, in key moments of the game, and you get a David Bell taking a catch and run for 41 yards. You get Marquisse Goodwin catching a 53-yard pass in a huge, huge fourth quarter on 1st and 15 when coach calls a shot play for his veteran, speedy, deep receiver. It's just really, really coming together. Yesterday's show obviously was a blast to do as this team put together those 3 drives in the fourth quarter. Joe was, just in the zone after, second and third quarter that didn't look so great, and just found his path in the fourth quarter, feeling it, finding his guys, trusting his playmakers. That ball to Amari Cooper that led to the touchdown, that is the true definition of believing in your player, believing in your teammate. Joe put it where he thought he should be and let it rip. And Amari Cooper did exactly what he was supposed to do. Amari Cooper only sat out 2 snaps yesterday. This guy has been banged up the entire year. But Amari Cooper goes out there yesterday and gives the Browns everything they need. Incredible, incredible effort. Amari Cooper knocking on the door of 1,000 yards. David Njoku, if it broke right, could be right around 1,000 yards this year. Jerome Ford, maybe still an outside shot for 1,000 yards. What this offense is doing with all the turmoil and offensive line changes and quarterback changes and shuffling here and there, it's truly impressive. Even if it's not, going out and it looks like, the prime Chiefs or the prime Peyton Manning Colts, they're doing what they got to do to get victories and put W's on the board. 9-5, number 1 in the AFC wild card with a 1-game lead, with 3 to play at Houston, home for the Jets, at the Bengals. Cleveland Browns sitting pretty right now. Stick to business, boys, and the path to January is there. I am Jeff Lloyd, and I appreciate each and every one of you who make Locked On Browns your first listen every single day. If you are not part of the everyday crowd, stop. Just subscribe to Locked On Browns YouTube channel, and you are in and enjoying it with the rest of us. The show's always available. It's always free wherever you get your podcasts. This has been your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound. LGB on the LOB. Let's go Browns.